And welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm recapping round one, the 3-game series is, and predicting the conference semifinals of the 2023 MLS Cup Playoffs. And I'm telling you how my predictions went, and I'll predict the next round, of course. Starting off with East round one, number one. The first sweep to finish. FC Cincinnati wins the series 2-0 over the New York Red Bulls. They dominate, of course, leg one at home. They win on penalties after a pretty crazy shootout. And a good later goal to make sure they win the series. They win on penalties. Crazy ending for sure, but Cincinnati sweeps the Red Bulls like we thought they would. It was a little bit touchy there late on in the game in New York, New Jersey. I should say Harrison. It was a little bit touchy there, but Cincinnati still swept and won the series, which I had them winning the series and I had them sweeping. I was right about that, but it only matters about how the series went. I had them winning. I was right. They're on. Then, speaking of the other first seed, Western round one, number one, St. Louis City SC loses the series to Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City wins the series 2-0. Of course, sweeps St. Louis. They go into City Park and absolutely slap up the City boys, and then they go to Kansas City, and they get the goals they need to finish it off. And Denby with a good game and played with a torn ACL for most of it. That was kind of crazy. But Sporting Kansas City played it better. They wanted it more. And they went through rightfully so. I got to say, Sporting Kansas City were hotter. And they wanted it more. And they won. So they sweep and they're through. And I was wrong about that series. And I'll be wrong about my full bracket in the West. And hell, my MLS Cup champion. But now that I'm doing every round, of course, I guess in that case, it doesn't matter. Then, West round one, number three, LAFC sweeps the Vancouver Whitecaps 2-0, 5-2 at LA, 1-0 win in LA, or 1-0 win in Vancouver. Crazy ending as well, of course, with the Tim Ford situation. Him bodying off Wolff, and then the offside goal, and Vanni Sartini losing his damn mind and all that. But LAFC still won game one like you would have expected them to. Game two was a little bit more of a, okay, but they still got it done. But they won the series. I was right about that, so I'm 2-1 on my predictions of the first round. Of course, 2 for 3, 2-1, depending on how you want to say it. But I was right. I was right about LAFC. I thought they would win. I thought it'd be a 3-game series, to be honest. But they won anyway, so. But it only matters who wins in my predictions, not the number of games. East round one, number one. We got Orlando City SC sweeping Nashville SC 2-0. Two grind of a game situations. 2 1-0 wins. Of course, Wilder Cartagena in the first. Then, of course, they won 1-0 down in Nashville. But they grinded them out. They got the wins. They found a way to win. They got it done. 3-1 in my predictions. 3 for 4. At Orlando going through, they went through. Sometimes you got to grind it out. I don't think that shows you how fraudulent they are. I think it shows you how versatile they are. With that being said, East round one, number two. Philadelphia Union sweeps the New England Revolution 2-0. A 1-0 win in New England. A dominant win in Philadelphia. 3-1. Pretty much what you expected, I would say. It's pretty much what you would have expected to happen for a Revolution Philly series. Because even though Philly doesn't look that great right now, I think against the Revolution, that was their favorable tie. I thought they still would sweep. I think the Revs are in a worse position than Philly even is. And you could tell. And hell, the Revolution put up a fight while they were down a man, but still wasn't the best. But still got it right. 4-1 in my predictions. 4 out of 5 correct. Now we go on to the game threes. West round one, number 4. Seattle Sounders win the series 2-1 over FC Dallas. They win both games in Seattle. They lose the game 2 in Dallas. Seattle definitely look fraudulent, and let's be completely honest. They honestly could have lost the series. They could have lost the series had Jesus Ferreira scored the 2 goals he was supposed to in game 1. But then again, they could have swept it too. It was a crazy series because Rui Diaz should have been handed a penalty. They probably should have taken it. Then they would have went to a shootout, and God knows what happens there. But it could have been a sweep for Seattle. It could have been a sweep for Dallas. Hell, Dallas could have won in 3. But Seattle were very fraudulent, but they still got through, and I was right about it. I did say a 3-game series for this series. I had a feeling. I thought Dallas would win the first game in Seattle, and Seattle would, gentlemen's reverse sweep them. But in the end, not enough. Dallas lose. Seattle go through. I was right. That is 5 for 6 in my predictions. 5-1. 5-1. West round 1, number 2, Houston Dynamo FC 2-1 over Real Salt Lake. They won 2-1 in game 1. They lost on penalties in game 2 at Rio Tinto Stadium. And then they won on penalties in game 3, Houston, to go through. It wasn't as strong of a performance as I thought I would see from Houston, because I thought Houston have been really good this year. Unexpectedly good, I should say. Unexpectedly good under Ben Olsen. I thought they'd be better. I wouldn't say this game was going to be I thought it was a 3-game series. But I thought that in the way this game went, I personally thought that the Dynamo would win. When they won, they would win very strongly. They did not. A 2-1 win and a penalty win, not the best. They could have won 1-0 in game 2, but then they fell apart and lost on penalties. Kind of deservedly so, FAFO. But there you go. Houston wins the series. I was right about that in the end. 6 out of 7. 6-1 on my predictions. And finally, East round 1, number 3. Columbus Crew wins the series 2-1 against Atlanta United FC. They win both games at home. They win game 1 2-0. They win game 3, 4-2. They lost game 2 to Atlanta 2-4 or 4-2. So basically, they game 2'd Atlanta to win the series. It was a very open series. It was a very big goal-scoring series. Probably the most goals scored in all series, I think. Yeah, because I had a game 3. 6, 7, 8 goals. St. Louis versus Sporting KC. That might have touched it. But with that being said, no, LAFC tied it. But again, it felt like Columbus versus Atlanta was the best goal-scoring series of all 8. Like, it was the most open play, the most forward-playing series, the toughest series. It was a great ending. It was the best game 3 of all 3 of the game 3s, and I'd say it was one of the more fun series. A lot of twists and turns. Columbus got it done. They're a very complete team, but they got to be a little bit better defensively. But if they do that, they could win MLS Cup. But I was right about the series. I thought Columbus would go through. I thought it'd be a 3-game series. I thought they'd go through. That means I'm 7 out of 8 in my first round predictions. 7-1. Not bad. I just wish St. Louis would have got it done. Then, on to the conference semis predictions. We'll start with the Eastern Conference Semifinals. Eastern Conference Semifinal 1, which is, I think, actually being played second on the weekend of the semifinals. I think that's Saturday. Yes. FC Cincinnati versus Philadelphia Union. 1 versus 4. In Cincinnati at TQL Stadium, I expect FC Cincinnati to win the match. I expect them to be the better side. I expect them to be the side that does exactly what they need to win the football match. I don't see Philadelphia matching Cincinnati. I really don't. They've lost their best defender. They've lost their best right back due to him being an idiot. You know what I mean. Of course, as well, they lost their best center back because he got injured. Surgery. And the team's about to fall apart. They're about to lose Bedoya. I think the locker room's on a freaking standstill, to be completely honest. And I think the locker room's about to blow up. And I think even though Cincinnati's fraudulent, they're still the better side in this matchup. Just like Philadelphia was the better side against the Revs. They both might be fraudulent. they both might be fraudulent. I think the Philly Union is more fraudulent in this situation than FC Cincinnati, which is why I say Cincinnati goes on and wins this semifinal. Just like I thought Philly was the least fraudulent of both the Revs and them. That's why I thought they would go through, and they did go through. So Cincinnati through to the conference final. Eastern Conference Semifinal 2, which is actually the first one to be played. Orlando City SC hosts the Columbus Crew. Orlando City SC versus Columbus Crew. And I think Orlando is still going to win the game. I think Orlando, Duncan McWhorter, if he has a game, which I think he will. He didn't really have it in this series, but I think in one-off moment, if he has a game, which I think he can against that Columbus defense, which they were very here or there at times, if Duncan McWhorter can make them pay, which I think he will, Orlando wins the game. I think they have a better defense. I think they have a really great striker. I think Orlando gets it done at home, and they have the home field advantage. So for me, I think Orlando gets it done. They beat the Columbus Crew just because Duncan McWhorter has the game with the home field advantage and the better defense. So Orlando City SC is through to the conference final. Western Conference Semifinal 1, which is the first one to be played on that Sunday after Thanksgiving. Houston Dynamo FC versus Sporting Kansas City. I think this is when the run ends for Sporting. I think Houston and Sporting are both Cinderellas in this situation. They both are. They just both are. But I think without Ndenby, they don't have that dynamic left back to make an attack out of Sporting Kansas City. I think Houston's the better defensive team. I think they're better offensively at times. If Griffin Dorsey could really show out, that would be great. Corey Baird hasn't really had his moments yet. I would say Hector Herrera's there. Carrasquilla, he's not on a yellow in the last game. He will play this conference semi. I think Houston hosting the game is a better team, and Sporting Kansas City doesn't have that wild card and Denby to help build attacks from the back and jump in and try to make an attack. They'll have to be more defensive, and I think that loses a wrinkle of their game that really was good against St. Louis and against San Jose. So, I think Houston wins the game. I wouldn't say it'll be easy. It'll be a tight game, but Houston wins, and they go to the conference final in the West. Western Conference Semifinal 2, Seattle Sounders FC versus LAFC. I think LAFC are going to pump Seattle. I think Seattle are absolutely fraudulent. I think they're a joke. I don't think they should even beat Dallas, to be completely honest. And if Jesus Ferreira would have did his damn job and acted like they were a Caribbean island, they would be out. LAFC are going to pipe Seattle. LAFC is going to play like they did against Vancouver in Game 1, and they are going to pipe the Seattle Sounders. Seattle will be eliminated. LAFC will look like their dominant selves, and you're like, damn, they could actually defend their title. Well, they came alive at the right time, I guess, to do the bare minimum. There you go. LAFC to the conference final, which means my predicted conference finals are the Eastern Conference Final, FC Cincinnati hosting Orlando City SC, 1 versus 2 in the East. And in the Western Conference Final, LAFC hosting Houston Dynamo FC. Oh, wait, Seattle's on the road. Oh, wait, Seattle's hosting LAFC. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I just caught myself when I was making my prediction. But, hey, who cares? It doesn't matter. LAFC is still going to pipe them. I don't care if they're on the road or at home. But in the conference final, if they were to win, which I think they will host Houston Dynamo, the 3rd seed versus the 4th seed. So, whoever wins that game is going to Orlando or Cincy. Or if it was supposed to somehow to be Philadelphia or Columbus, they would. But you know what I mean. So, 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4. 1 versus 2 in the East, 3 versus 4 in the West. That's what I got. So with that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in play. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I shall see you tomorrow for the CONCACAF Nations League Copa America qualifiers quarterfinal predictions. Maybe I'll re-predict the whole knockouts, but I'll definitely predict the quarterfinals again. And I'll also be on Ryan LFC's channel to preview Canada versus Jamaica, so that'll be good. So with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow as a guest and on my channel. That'll be fun. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you later.